The cancelled Spider-Man 4 game is interesting because this is a game we never got, not because of studio issues or anything involving the character rights, but simply because the Spider-Man 4 movie was cancelled, and of course you can't have a movie tie-in game without a movie. A few months ago we got our first ever look at what this game would have been that ultimately became Prototype 2, with artist Wayne Dalton releasing the unfinished game screenshots to his website along with the rest of his work. And aside from these screenshots and very short clips, we never got to see how this game would have actually played out or an idea of what the game's story would have been until now. Recently, a YouTube channel by the name Hard for Games uploaded an in-depth video sharing Spider-Man 4 gameplay found on a Wii development system, and due to the amount of requests I got to cover this topic, today I'll be sharing my thoughts on the gameplay featured in this video along with trying to break down exactly what the game's story could have been. Also, I would recommend checking out their video first on this topic so you can get a clear understanding of what exactly I will be discussing in this video. So to begin, the first thing that caught my eye in this video was the menu, and to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the overall design of it, although I'm willing to bet this wouldn't have been the final design, but the idea that the menu was going for is neat to me considering it's almost like a Daily Bugle newspaper, and we even got a direct shout out to the Vulture, who would have been the main villain of the Spider-Man 4 movie. And I wonder if throughout the game the news ticker would have updated as we progress through the story, sort of like the in-game social media of Spider-Man PS4. What I also like about this is that Radical would have brought back the menus to the Raimi Spider-Man games, which would have been something that we haven't seen since Spider-Man 2002, since 2 and 3 only featured start titles. The menu also included a lot of references to the previous 3 films, including dialogue from Peter Parker and a reference to the subway crash that Spider-Man quote-unquote probably caused in the first film, although that is questionable whether it is a reference due to there actually being a crash subway shown later in the video. There's also a lot of different characters featured in the options menu, and I have no idea who these characters are, but I probably guess that they're original side bosses like with the Spider-Man 3 gangs. I also really like that the loading screens in this game would have been identical to the opening credits effects of the movies, which I really like because I miss the opening credits of the original Spider-Man films. There's not too much to say about the FX showcase for me, at least, since we probably wouldn't even have been able to use this in the final game. The city does look good for what it is in this footage, but really any city would look great after playing Spider-Man 3 on the Wii or PS2. That game doesn't even have Times Square, I kid you not. However, one thing that I caught from the FX showcase was the Chrysler Building specific showcase, because if you guys have played the first Raimi Spider-Man game, you fight Vulture at that building. Even Spider-Man 2 has an Easter egg for it. One thing I noticed about the combat in this video is that it's very similar to Spider-Man 3 on the Wii, which isn't really a bad thing, but each Raimi Spider-Man game has its own unique combat style, so I would prefer something a bit different. It also looks like Radical would have brought back the training mode similar to the first Raimi Spider-Man game, which I'm not too sure if this was only included for development purpose, but I wouldn't have minded seeing something like this on the Wii, especially using their mechanics. Moving on from that, the World Sim Showcase impressed me given the garbage that was Spider-Man 3 on the Wii. The city is alive, I like the lighting and building design, and I would have loved to experience this city for myself. However, I'd say my biggest issue with this game, if this made the final cut, is the swinging. Now it's either like this because this was meant to be a tutorial level to get the player familiar with the Wii motion, or this is actually what Radical had in mind, overall giving the player no real freedom to swing where they want. Like the trash that is Spider-Man 2 on the PC, targets around the city determine your next swinging point, and one thing any developer should nail making a Spider-Man game is the swinging. And while it might look bad given the targets around the city, one thing that Hard for Games pointed out in the video is that there is a sense of momentum to it, so I don't know, maybe it would have felt good to swing around the city like this. And that's basically everything that stood out to me during this video. Would I play it? Of course, and I would love to see what this game would have looked like playing on a 360 or PS3. But even for a Wii game, this looks like it would have been something fun to play, with my only real issues from this gameplay being the swinging and the combat similar to Spider-Man 3. So let me know what you guys thought of this newly revealed Spider-Man 4 gameplay, as well as if you agree or disagree with anything I pointed out in the video. Would you play this game, and if so, would you enjoy basically being told where to swing while playing? Because I sure wouldn't. I also apologize for the delay in uploads lately. I've been doing finals for my semester and just had to do 2 presentations earlier this week, but hopefully next week I'll be back at full swing uploading the best Spider-Man content weekly on YouTube. And as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, follow my social medias, and I will see you guys again in my next video.